الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا من طيبات ما كسبتم ومما أخرجنا لكم من الأرض ولا تيمموا الخبيث منه تنفقون ولستم بآخذيه إلا أن تغمزوا فيه واعلموا أن الله غني حميد الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء والله يعدكم مغفرة منه وفضلا والله واسع عليم يؤتي الحكمة من يشاء ومن يؤت الحكمة فقد أوتي خيرا كثيرا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب صدق الله العظيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم ربنا ارحمنا بالقرآن العظيم واجعله لنا إماما ونورا وهدى ورحمة اللهم ذكرنا منه ما نسينا وعلمنا منه ما جهلنا وارزقنا تلاوته آناء الليل وآناء النهار واجعله لنا حجة يا رب العالمين آمين. The same subject of infaq fi sabilillah is continuing. The full preceding section, that is section 36 of Surah Al-Baqarah, that was also fully occupied by this discussion about infaq fi sabilillah. And this section 37th is also fully occupied by this discussion. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu anfiqu min tayyibati ma kasabtum. O you who believe, or O you who profess to believe, expend and spend in the way of Allah when good things that you have earned. Tayyibati ma kasabtum. وَمِمَّا أَخْرَجْنَا لَكُمْ مِنَ الْأَرْضِ, or from which that we have brought forth from the earth for you. وَلَا تَيَمَّمُوا الْخَبِيثَ مِنْهُ, and don't aim at something which is bad from that. تُنْفِقُونَ وَلَسْتُمْ بِآخِذِيهِ, that you will spend it for the cause of Allah, for charity, for giving it to poor. Something which is bad. وَلَسْتُمْ بِآخِذِيهِ, and if some occasion arises and you need and somebody gives you that type of thing, you will not be able to accept it. You will not accept it yourself. إِلَّا أَن تُغْمِضُوا فِيهِ, unless you close your eyes on it. So it will be difficult to accept such a thing which you want to give to others. وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ. You should keep in mind that Allah is Ghani. You are not giving to this poor person, you are giving to Allah. For the sake of Allah you are giving. You are giving it to Allah actually. So you should give the best, not the worst. He is Ghani. Wallahu Ghaniyyun Hamid. He is self-sufficient, praiseworthy. Ash-shaytanu ya'idukumul faqr. Shaitan threatens you, make you fear poverty. If you spend for the cause of Allah, you will become poor. You will have nothing. وَيَأْمُرُكُمْ بِالْفَحْشَاءِ. In addition, he enjoins upon you to indecency. وَاللَّهُ يَعِدُكُمْ. On the contrary, Allah is promising with you مَغْفِرَةً مِّنْهُ, forgiveness from Him, وَفَضْلًا, and bounty. وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ, and Allah is all embracing, knowing everything. يُؤْتِي الْحِكْمَةَ مَن يَشَاءُ. He gives the true wisdom to whomsoever He pleases. وَمَن يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ, and whosoever has been given and granted wisdom, the real wisdom, فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا, he has been given the biggest good, خَيْرِ كَثِيرٍ. وَمَا يَذَّكَّرُ إِلَّا أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ, and only those who have real understanding, they get the admonition and they get the real advice. Now what does it mean here? You cannot spend the best of your wealth for the way of Allah unless you have the real wisdom that everything that you have here is for this world. And this world is temporary. It's not everlasting. And whatever you are spending for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is for the other world. And that is lasting. بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. Your real disease, your real mistake is that you prefer this world, the life of this world, while actually the life of the next world, the life of hereafter, that is much better and that is everlasting. So real wisdom is this. Whosoever has understood this point, not only that he professes that he believes in it, it is ingrained in his heart, it is there as a conviction. He has the real hikmah, he has the real wisdom. And then the wisdom of all other things will also become apparent to him. His inner eyes will, so to say, be opened. يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَمَنْ يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا وَمَا أَنْفَقْتُم مِّن نَفَقَةٍ أَوْ نَذَرْتُم مِّن نَذْرٍ. And whatsoever you spend, any spending that you do, and every vow that you make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nazr, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُهُ, Allah knows it. Don't try to proclaim it loudly. Because if you are doing it for Allah, Allah knows it. Allah knows everything, even if it is in your mind and in your heart only. Because this sadaqah nafila, as far as zakah, that is the obligatory charity. As far as it is concerned, it is to be given openly to the government, Islamic State. It's not to be concealed or hid. It shouldn't be hidden. But sadaqat nafila, additional spending that you do for this pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that shouldn't be declared. If you declare, okay, at least you are giving something, at least it can be beneficial, it will be used somewhere. But the best thing is, you conceal it. You keep it a secret. And the wordings that have appeared in one of the ahadith is that what your right hand spends, let not even your own left hand know it. You are spending with your right hand. Even your left hand shouldn't know that you have done it. That would be actually, that will have the privilege that this is exclusively for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is no riya and no showing off in it. وَمَا أَنْفَقْتُم مِّن نَفَقَةٍ أَوْ نَذَرْتُم مِّن نَذْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُهُ. Whatsoever you spend and whatsoever you vow to spend, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it. وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ. But there will be no helpers for the wrongdoers, for the unjust. إِن تُبْدُوا الصَّدَقَاتِ فَنِعِمَّا هِيَ. If you disclose and proclaim your charity, well, this is also okay. At least you are giving something, at least some needs will be fulfilled by that. وَإِن تُخْفُوهَا وَتُؤْتُوهَا الْفُقَرَاءَ. And if you conceal it, if you keep it a secret and give away to the people who are needy, فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. That is much better for you. Because then actually there will be no doubt of riya and sum'ah, that you wanted to show off, you wanted to get the praise of the people. If that is the case, you will have no reward on the day of judgment. That will carry no weight in the balance of the hereafter. وَيُكَفِّرُ عَنْكُم مِّن سَيِّئَاتِكُمْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will acquit you of your evil deeds due to that sadaqah that you have made in secrecy. وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرٌ. And whatever you are doing, Allah is well aware of it. لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ. Now after all this persuasion, even if after all this persuasion people are not ready to spend for the cause of Allah, for the pleasure of Allah, what could Muhammad do sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reassuring him. Don't be grieved, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If even after all these ayat having been revealed, there are people in Medina who are wealthy, but who are keeping their wealth with them, the munafiqeen. They didn't want to spend for the cause of Allah. They were all of them very, very rich people. But if they are not doing it, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ. It is not your responsibility to give them the guidance. You can't give it. It's not in your power. You don't have the authority. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given every human being a choice. It's his own choice. He can take any choice. He can choose anything. He can take any direction. Imma shakiran wa imma kafura. So don't be grieved. Laysa alayka hudahum walakinna Allah yahdi man yasha. This authority is only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He gives guidance to whomsoever He likes. He can change the heart of a person. The Prophet had said that the hearts of all human beings are within the two fingers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yusarrifu kayfa yasha. He can turn the heart of the persons in whichever direction he likes. These hearts are in the two fingers, between the two fingers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the Prophet didn't have that authority. It has been said to him, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. You cannot give guidance to whomsoever you like. This is exclusive authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He gives the guidance to whomsoever He likes. لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ. Don't be grieved. لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ. The responsibility is not yours. You will not be questioned. As we read yesterday, وَلَا تُسْأَلُ عَنْ أَصْحَابِ الْجَحِيمِ. You will not be questioned about these people, why they went to Jahannam when you were there, when we sent you, even after your advent. Why such a great number of people are going to Jahannam? Well, it's not responsibility. You are not responsible. You are not questionable on that account. لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَلِأَنفُسِكُمْ. And whatsoever you spend, O Muslims, know that you are doing it for your own self. You will get the reward in the hereafter. Don't think you are doing good to somebody else. It's for your own self. وَمَا تُنْفِقُونَ إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ اللَّهِ. And that also, if you are spending only for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If there is some pollution, some wrong intention is there, you want some praise from the people, that he is very sahi, he is a person of charity, then you know even that is gone. Then it's the wastage. You will get nothing in the hereafter also. So now here, after the persuasion, this is inzar. If you are spending, see that you are spending with pure intentions. If there is pollution in the intentions, then you will get nothing. لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَلِأَنفُسِكُمْ وَمَا تُنْفِقُونَ إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ اللَّهِ وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ يُوَفَّ إِلَيْكُمْ. And if you are spending for the pleasure of Allah solely and exclusively, then it will be given to you in full. The reward will be given to you in full. وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تُظْلَمُونَ. And you will not be wronged. You will not be deprived of your due rewards. Now comes that ayah which I mentioned in the very beginning. All this infaq for whom? Sadaqat are for the poor. Sadaqah always for poor. But infaq fi sabilillah for whom? لِلْفُقَرَاءِ الَّذِينَ أُحْسِرُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ لَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ ضَرْبًا فِي الْأَرْضِ يَحْسَبُهُمُ الْجَاهِلُ أَغْنِيَاءَ مِنَ التَّعَفُّفِ تَعْرِفُهُمْ بِسِيمَاهُمْ لَا يَسْأَلُونَ النَّاسَ إِلْحَافًا وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. لِلْفُقَرَاءِ. This infaq is for those people, those needy people, الَّذِينَ أُحْسِرُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, who have been surrounded in the cause of Allah, who have been encircled in the cause of Allah. Hisar, mahsoor. Mahsoor is one who is surrounded. There is no way out. He is mahsoor. Muhasara. الَّذِينَ أُحْسِرُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, who have been surrounded, confined, wholly occupied, whole time occupied for the cause of Allah. They have dedicated their lives. They are doing no business. They are not in any profession now. They have given up everything. They have dedicated all their life, all their time, all energies, all capabilities for the cause of Allah. And I told you unless there is a big number, not only one or two of such persons, no revolution can be brought about. It's not a part-time job. You can do tabligh part-time. Tabligh can be done part-time. Teaching can be done part-time. But iqamatud deen, to establish the deen of Allah, to change the political socio-economic order, which requires a revolutionary struggle, that is impossible. There should be hundreds and hundreds of people who devote whole time, total energies, exclusively for this cause. Now they have to be fed. They are also human beings. They have to be looked after. Who will do it? The brethren who are doing it still part-time, they are also working for that deen, for that movement, for that revolution, but still they are part-time. They are earning also. They should share their earnings with those brothers who have devoted themselves whole time, wholehearted. So this is actually the best use of infaq fi sabilillah. للفقراء الذين احسنوا في سبيل الله لا يستطيعون ضربا في الأرض. They cannot travel in the world, on the earth. You know, business was done on those days mostly by traveling, export, import. The Prophet used to lead caravans before Wahi started coming to him. He was taking caravans to Syria. So actually, but there, now, when the Wahi came to him, when he was engaged in this dawah, in his mission, now after that he couldn't go anywhere to do business. He never took any other caravan after that, and he didn't do any work to earn his livelihood. He had some money of Hazrat Khadija radiyallahu ta'ala anha. That was there sufficient for him in his Makki period, but in Madani period, actually it were the gifts of the people, the hadaya. And then you know when the battle started, then the ghanima, the al-anfal, the fay, these were the sources of his income, of his livelihood. After all, he had 9 wives at one time, and he had to feed them. Then relatives, all these things were there. Then there were the Ashab Sufa. Who were they? They were the whole timers. They were not doing any business. They were whole time in the mosque, learning Quran, learning Hadith. Whatsoever is being revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are learning it. At Makkah even, so many young people, youth, they were whole timers. Khabbab ibn al-Ard, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Abdullah ibn Maktoum, and then you know Musab bin Umair radiyallahu ta'ala. The Prophet sent him to Medina. How could he go to Medina? Because he had actually devoted all his life. So he could go to Medina. So that is, you know, you should have the history before you. لِلْفُقَرَاءِ الَّذِينَ أُحْسِنُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ لَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ ضَرْبًا فِي الْأَرْضِ. They cannot go about on the earth doing business. يَحْسَبُهُمُ الْجَاهِلُ أَغْنِيَاءَ مِنَ التَّعَفُّفِ. Because they don't ask due to their humility and modesty. People think they are rich. They are not asking. They are not begging. لَا يَسْأَلُونَ النَّاسَ تَعْرِفُهُمْ بِسِيمَاهُمْ. You will recognize them with their faces, with their looks. If somebody is in need, even if he is not asking, you can see it written on his face. If you have the idea, they will never ask. لَا يَسْأَلُونَ النَّاسَ إِلْحَافًا. They are not beggars. They won't beg the people importunately. وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. And whatever wealth and money you spend, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala verily knows it. So this is the final ayah on this subject. This is the last ayah of the 37th section of Surah Al-Baqarah. Here these 2 sections regarding infaq fi sabilillah come to